The Marvel Cinematic Universe has been a mixed bag of late. For every Spider-Man No Way Home, it seems we've gotten at least 3 less competently put together sequels like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. This is primarily why I approach Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 with a measure of uncertainty. The first film had taken the MCU in a bold new direction, while the sequel has served as a somewhat worthy follow-up. But given the current direction of the MCU or its lack thereof, the third film definitely feels like it's got his work cut out for it. So does it manage to right a ship that is clearly veering off course, or does it succumb to the growing sense of superhero fatigue? Hi guys, Michael Abayimi here, and today I'm reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. The film picks up right where the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special left off, with the eponymous team now taking up residence in the severed head of a dead celestial known as Nowhere. Peter Quill is still struggling to come to terms with the death of the original Gamora, spending his days drinking himself into a stupor. But after Rocket becomes the target of a mad scientist called the High Evolutionary, through a powerful mercenary named Adam Warlock, Peter must work together with the rest of the Guardians to protect their good friend and comrade. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that a lot was riding on James Gunn to deliver another home run with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. You only need to look at the box office performance of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania to see just how dire a position the MCU is in. Gunn is the magic that once drew fans to these movies in record numbers, or at least so it would seem. Basically every sequel since Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness has seen diminishing returns compared to its predecessor. But I will put that down to the quality of the storytelling in the recent crop of movies, which appears to have taken a nosedive, than any actual sense of superhero fatigue. The real question then is, how does the new Guardians of the Galaxy compare to the old ones? Well, I'm happy to report that it compares quite favorably. I might even go as far as declaring that it is a return to form for the overall MCU, although I'll hold off until I've gotten a chance to see the Marvels before making such a declaration. The film not only captures the essence of what made the previous Guardians movies great, namely the top-notch characterization and killer soundtrack, but it also isn't afraid to take audiences to some very dark and disturbing places. The film functions as both an origin story for Rocket, whose existing ties to the High Evolutionary are explored through flashbacks, as well as the final outing for the current iteration of the Ragtag team. So do with that information what you will. Just know that the movie tugs on your heartstrings from the very beginning, and it doesn't let up until the very end. It is also one of the most violent movies in the MCU, and I could definitely see a lot of James Gunn's sensibilities on display. But it is how he is able to balance all that out that makes him one of the more gifted directors of superhero films working today. The action scenes are as sharply stylized as they've ever been, especially one extended beat-down sequence that was set to the Beastie Boys' No Sleep to Brooklyn. Likewise, the entire soundtrack feels meticulously curated by hand, with each song lending the on-screen drama and action additional weight. Considering that this is most likely James Gunn's final contribution to the MCU, having since taken up the position of co-CEO at newly minted DC Studios, I would say that he has managed to go out with one hell of a bang. About the only thing I can really fault the movie for is that it doesn't appear to make the best use of some of its characters. The core team of Guardians gets to shine, of course, even newer additions like Kraglin and Cosmo. But characters like Adam Warlock barely get enough screen time, making them feel tacked on or written into the story after the fact. Some others were just thrown in for a quick cameo with no real bearing on the plot. And while I was never a fan of the decision to bring Gamora back after Avengers Endgame, I was at least surprised by how our inclusion in this movie had played out. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is a near-perfect send-off for the MCU's most unlikely heroes. The film earns every minute of its 2 hours and 30 minutes runtime, and somehow still leaves you wanting more. This is the most fun I've had with a Marvel movie since Spider-Man No Way Home, and that's including the various highs that came with entries like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It serves as a stark reminder as to why I'd fallen in love with these MCU movies in the first place, and it shows that there is still some magic left to be found in the aging franchise. I'll give the film a 9 out of 10. What did you think of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'll be dropping a review for Fast X soon, so make sure you subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on if you don't want to miss it as soon as it goes up. And until the next one, this is Michael, signing off.